Thank you for coming. Last night, I was speaking to World Football Summit host, worrying that nobody shows up in the second day. So it's not full, but at least good to see some of you here, yeah? Okay. My name is Okabe from Japan Football Association, but this is very new. I just started. Before that, I spent 20 years in European football, 1 year with Everton Football Club in Premier League, and 19 years with UEFA Champions League. So my expertise is in the global football business, mainly media rights and sponsorship. Today, we're going to talk about sponsorship. So how sponsorship has shifted from simple logo exposure to meaningful partnership that delivers measurable the value for partners. Yeah. Now, why sponsorship matters in Saudi Arabia in this region? So let me put this into perspective. Yeah. Like I said, I used to work for Everton in Premier League 20 years ago. Noman, question to you. You're from England. 20 years ago, do you remember if there's any club in Premier League owned by Arab?
No, not at all. It was more British owned, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Now, another question. So I've been to every single World Cup since 1994 US. Mugbil, you're from here. When you're grown up in this country, when you're younger, in childhood, can you believe the World Cup will be hosted here in Saudi Arabia in the future?
Before answering your question, let me first of all thank the WFS, Jan, Majid, and Zaid, and all their team to having us today in the stage. Secondly, let me welcome and thank everyone who attended this panel, and we hope they get benefit of our speech. Back to your question. Look, if you ask me this question 6-7 years ago, or let's say 2015-16, it is impossible. I could say, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even in my thought, even in my dream, no.
Right.
But since 2018, 19, to be honest, I believe every Saudi citizen, he has full confidence in our leadership, government, who did very great transformation in our country. They draw our roadmap through the 2030, and for me, I was confident of hosting World Cup. It's not 2034, but to be honest, I was full confident of having this World Cup, and alhamdulillah, today we are more than happy to have it.
Right, great to hear. Okay, so just to finish off my question, to set the scene, the Ali, so Asian context, so you work for Dentsu, you know, the longtime partner of AFC. So AFC Champions League last year, semi-finalist. Who are they? The 4 teams?
They have 3 teams from Saudi Arabia, so Al-Hilal, Al-Ahli, and Al-Nasr, and 1 team from Japan.
Yes.
In theory, seeing 3 teams from Saudi and a glorious team from Japan in the semi-finals for Champions League, it's phenomenal. It showcases how the football here in the region has grown. Japan has always been predominant in terms of football, and Saudi is matching up.
Yeah, so that was probably the first time in the history of the AFC Champions League that had 3 Saudi semi-finalists. So given all this, it's clear that Saudi Arabia in the Middle East has become a powerhouse and a very important player in global football. Therefore, sponsorship really matters in this region. Yeah, because essentially, like I said, I'm from a European football business. Football business is very simple. 3 main revenue stream. 1, media right. 2nd, sponsorship licensing. 3rd, match day revenue. There's another, the player transfer, but it's a little bit complicated. So therefore, as the government lead all these innovation, of course, the business side need to develop, and therefore, I think the government now progressing privatization of professional club here. Therefore, sponsorship really matters in this region. Now, I want to hand over the floor to all of you. Perhaps, Noman, you can start, brief introduction of yourself, please.
Yeah, sure. So nice to be here, and thank you to the World Football Summit. So my company, Wilber and Forsyth Consulting Partners, is a cross-sector strategy house. So we work on a strategic side across multi-sports in football, cricket, paddle, rugby league, and boxing as well. And really, we focus heavily on understanding cross-border commercial structures. So in that falls corporate advisory, M&A, sponsorships, partnerships. We work across Europe and the Middle East as well. And Saudi is a very interesting area for us because it's an emerging market that's accelerating at an extreme pace. So the epicenter for football will be Saudi Arabia for the next 15 to 20 years, at least, beyond the World Cup, because this will just continue. So the amount of investment that's gone into building these infrastructures needs to leave a legacy for others to build upon, and the right trusted partners to come in and then make sure that football is used as a catalyst for the wider economy. So if you look at other markets where sport is utilized in a way to benefit the community, focus on social mobilization, but also the wider economic model of the country then benefits from having sporting legacy events, leagues that are profitable, and grassroots strategies to bring children through for the next 10 to 15 years. So countries that have focused on those areas have typically done a lot better. And then the sponsorships and partnerships fall into that model.
Okay, great. Okay, then next, Stuart, please, the brief introduction.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Stuart D'Souza. I'm one of the founders and CEO of AEI Saudi. We're a management consulting and support services firm based here in Riyadh. We're about 100 professionals at our headquarters in Malaz, in the kingdom, in Riyadh. And we help foreign businesses to enter, establish, and expand in the kingdom. And in the last 13 years, we've helped just over 2,500 foreign businesses to achieve success in the Saudi market. And what that mainly focuses on is helping clients to get beyond the headlines, beyond the hype, and to actually access opportunities in a compliant, low-cost, low-risk way. And that always starts with seeking informed, objective advice about your options for establishing a business in the kingdom, forming a partnership in the kingdom, having the optimum operating model to access all of the opportunities that we know about in Saudi Arabia. But the Saudi marketplace is a challenging place to do business, and seeking advice right from the very start doesn't need to cost a load of money, but seeking informed, objective advice is the key thing. And I hope that's going to be the key takeaway for people today, is to make sure you do your homework before rushing in to try and take advantage of the opportunities in the Saudi market.
Great. Mugbil, you're from here, probably everybody knows you, so very quick introduction, please.
I didn't hear.
Huh?
A question?
Your brief introduction, please.
If you ask me about introduction about our company or about...
your company, but very briefly, because probably you're from here, everybody knows you.
Yeah. FG Sports is one known name in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, serving the sports sector with many services, consultation, event management, and solution for sports and entertainment. Sponsorship, to be honest, one of the main services that we focus on because the need of the market for sponsorship. Today our discussion will be about sponsorship. So there is a need for money through sponsorship. The organization, sports organization, and the market would like to come in the market or in the sports sector, which is today very attractive for any company.
Great. Okay, so finally, Ali, yeah, please.
Thank you, Hassan. My name is AlJehani. I'm heading Dentsu Sports International in Saudi Arabia. Dentsu Sports International is the sports arm of the Japanese giant, marketing and media giant Dentsu. They have been operating in the region for quite some time, but did not have physical presence in Saudi until the last 6 months. I've recently joined the company, almost over 3 months now. Dentsu Sports International has 3 main pillars in terms of what they do. Analytics, data analytics, evaluation, and fan engagement analysis. We pride ourselves in knowing the fans, especially here in Saudi. Second pillar would be management, consultation, evaluation, and activation strategy. And third is sponsorship and commercialization. The reason why Dentsu decided to invest in Saudi is just like Yasuhide mentioned, is Saudi is going through a boom of growth in the sports sector. It's becoming very well predominant. It's becoming very strong in the region. It wants to grow on all aspects. It has developed significantly inside the pitch. Outside the pitch, it's trying to catch up, and this is why we're here today to talk about sponsorships.
Great. Okay, let's crack on now. So what has changed in the world of sponsorship? What's the biggest shift in football sponsorship in the last 5 to 10 years? Probably, Noman, can you answer that?
So I think for us, there's the biggest change has been mostly around what the lens of sponsors and partners is, and how the clubs and organizations are also viewing sponsorship. So previously it was more transactional, there was a relationship, but now the sponsors and partners are looking at the organizations as a more financial, almost investment-like transaction. So they're looking at what's the data, what's the return on investment, and sponsorships are more focused on decision-making from board members and CEOs and CFOs, rather than in the marketing department, where previously it was, you have a budget, go and sponsor this, and we can measure it by, this is the size of the broadcasting deal, that game was viewed by X amount of people. But now, because of the way technology is, the way you have more access to data stacks, you can be very tangible in your results. So sponsors want to know, what will I get? Who's been watching? What age are they? What sex are they? Where are they based? So the data-driven element, the value element, building authentic connections with consumers who, of course, are now more digitally focused. So the consumer is very different to how they were 10, 15 years ago. And ultimately, in any sponsorship or partnership, everything comes down to your consumer. If you understand your consumer, then you're more likely to get a benefit. So that real estate of selling the sponsorship in your organization has also had many changes of how you are positioning your real estate, what value you're placing onto it. So it's a super exciting time to understand what the evolution has been and where it will go to next.
Right, okay, good. I think that's a good level, in a high level, the summary in the trends. So back to you guys from this region, the Mugbil and Ali. So what kind of changes you have seen in the last 5 to 10 years in this region?
Look, in terms of sponsorship, technology, I think it's the big change happened through technology, not in sponsorship, in our lifestyle. Today, on this phone, you can do everything. Even having your dinner or lunch, you just order by the applications. And this technology, to be honest, changed all the world. And sponsorship definitely get benefit of this change. In the past, sponsorship mainly focus on the media exposure and branding and image and this kind of things. But after the revolution of technology, no, the way changed. Even the evaluation, which was very difficult things for sponsorship, now it's getting better with technology. Help the company to be close with the audience, with the target. Even their let's say objectives a little bit became let's say measurable. Through the technology, you can be more accurate to get or to measure your goals and this kind of things. So I think technology play a very big role in this change, and in the near future, I think will be
right.
will be
So,
more.
so essentially, because of technology, the measurable, the value now really tested, right?
Yes.
In a partnership. Okay, Ali, you have worked for very big marketing sports company, WWE, Neom, and Dentsu. Anything from you on this?
I think most importantly is now how brands see this. We moved from interrupting the market to actually integrating with the fan base. The fan base is no longer a passive or receptive audience. No, they want to be the protagonists of the story. They want to be part of the narrative, the writers of the narrative. The old playbook of sponsorships is we built for the fans. Now we build with the fans. If you're not part of their values, if you're not that part of their culture, it's no longer just a logo on an asset or on a jersey. No, you need to actually be part of their value. Fans look at brands as part of their identity. Sports is part of their identity. So this is how everything needs to change to actually be part of that ecosystem rather than just trying to interrupt it, integrate with it.
Good. Okay. All right. So then, of course, some of you mentioned the measurable value to be delivered is very important now. What does it mean actually by that measurable result? Can you guys tell us a bit of example? Noman? Or,
Yeah. So when we worked with sponsors and partners, they've been measuring it in various ways. So from the number of eyeballs, for example, so when you had broadcasting deals, really it was how many people have viewed it. Now it's digital viewership. Then they've looked at what data do we get. So they want to understand who's watching better, right? So this is measurable. So you have a pool of 200,000 people, mostly men, mostly of this age. So they use that data. Then they link it back to a product or merchandise. So for example, an airline might want to sell more tickets, or when we worked with financial services and banks, we need to onboard more digital consumers. So that are more tangible, objective ways of understanding, okay, what did we get from it? And then more sort of non-tangible ways are, okay, we were exposed to this amount, we had brand awareness, we had this many eyeballs on it, and linking, and this is where the sort of almost investment-like ecosystem comes in of, okay, what return did we get? And part of it is helping those brands to understand that making an impact in a short space of time is not easy. You have to have multi-year deals, get everything warmed up, get things going, and then you'll start to see tangible results of, okay, I invested X, I got this many digital users to buy my banking platform, or purchase on an airline, or buy a ticket to an event, and so on. So these are the sorts of areas that they're looking at now.
Okay, good. So before going to Stuart, one other question to Ali on this. So Dentsu, of course, one of the biggest marketing company in the world, the standalone company, right? On this, any comment on measurable values?
I think when it comes to measurable values, brands are now looking for the why behind the what. Data should not be used as a scoreboard, but it should be used as a compass. Like I said, the logo on an asset or a jersey is the old currency. Now it needs to be integrated more with the fan base, with your reach audience. So brands need to move beyond impressions and reaches and try to answer three much harder questions. Engagement. Did the fan engage? Did the fan react to what we're trying to do? Sentiment. Did we actually did we change their feelings and how they actually react to our brands? And most importantly, revenue. Did the cheer in the stadiums translate into a customer into our stores? It's how you become part of the entire ecosystem of the fan experience, being part of what they love. When they see the logo of their favorite sports club or their sports federation, and they link it to your brand, it's one thing that makes sure that they engage with you, feel good sentiment about you, and actually want to support you outside the stadium.
Okay, and then Mugbil, on this, in Saudi Arabia, you see the massive changes, yeah? Because you mentioned about measurable or result matters more. Any example on that one here in the region or in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. Let me just for the measurable. Again, back to technology, it helps a lot to make the measurable for them, for the companies, is easier. Applications, download, the e-commerce, and some of the e-commerce company became a sponsor of the clubs and any sports event through their, they have their KPIs to follow up and how many, that per click and this kind of things, give them very clear and specific numbers. It's, to be honest, help them a lot to make the measurable is for them. It's helpful to measure, to follow, to build a relationship with fan, to engage with them a lot. Also to, especially with sports, what I noticed from some companies, I'll give you an example. They try to convey the fan from sports fan to clients for them. And I remember one company sponsor some clubs in Saudi. He told me the big benefit I get from sponsoring Saudi Russian League is the trust that I get, because the call center was outside Saudi. When people call and take a service from them and a non-Saudi response, for them the trust is not a lot. But when they engage in the sports clubs as a sponsor, people trust them a lot, and that increase on their purchases and call.
Okay, all right. Stuart, so I know you're not particularly the sports focus, but you do the market entry type of consulting for a number of sectors and industry. Any thought on this?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think in terms of what's changed in the last 10 to 20 years, I've lived in Riyadh for 20 years. It's always striking how many people come to these events and it's their first time in Saudi, maybe their second trip. It's excellent to see so many new businesses entering the Saudi market. But perspective is really important. So I've got a question for you, Yasu, which is, obviously Ronaldo is here now in Riyadh with us, but when did he score his first goal in Saudi Arabia?
I have to admit, I don't remember.
Does anybody know? Anyone know when Ronaldo scored his first goal in Saudi Arabia?
You're not talking when...
20? No, it was 2008. In January 2008, Manchester United came to Riyadh for a testimonial match for the Saudi legend of Sami Al-Jabal.
Yes. Wow.
And Ronaldo scored, Tevez scored, and then Al Hilal pulled it back in the last minutes and won 3-2. Can you imagine the experience of that Manchester United team in 2008 playing at the King Fahd Stadium compared to the experience of a visiting football club today? It is night and day. So everything has changed. In every sector, obviously we're talking about football today, but across sport, everything has changed. Across education, across training, across healthcare, across infrastructure, everything has changed. Mm-hmm. The profile of Saudi Arabia on the global stage has completely changed. And
Indeed.
That point that Ali made about Saudi Arabia is now moving from being an interrupter to being an integrator, that's absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Mm-hmm. It's still obviously on the journey, but that's exactly the strategy. One thing has not changed, which is the Saudi people's passion for football. And this is where the sponsorship element comes in. Because unlike other countries in the Gulf, which you're typically dealing with a city-state largely occupied by expats, whether it's Dubai or Doha, Saudi Arabia is a huge market. And people forget the actual scale, not just demographics, the 27 million Saudi nationals, 60% under the age of 30, all football fanatics, as much as they were in 2008, they still are today, but the scale of the market and the geography of the kingdom. This is not a one stadium project sort of country.
Right,
this is
right.
11 stadiums.
Yeah.
And we've had that, you know, the King Abdullah Stadium in Jeddah, but the runway of sports events that's ahead of us now, that has been such a catalyst for infrastructure, but everything that goes around that. And that's where so many companies here today, whether they're involved in ticketing or customer experience or event management or training or health and safety or security, whatever it might be, there's such an ecosystem that has been built now around the sports sector in Saudi Arabia. Look at what's happened in golf. I'm a golfer. It's just extraordinary. And so everything has changed in 20 years. Everything has changed in 5 years, really. And that journey is just going to carry on through to 2034. And of course, everyone is talking about the Olympics, the bid for the Olympics in 2040. Vision 2030 is going to be eclipsed by Vision 2040, by Vision 2050. And so, you know, our business is about flying the flag for Saudi Arabia. And it's never been easier to do it because there's so much going on here.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good point. No? The Saudi Arabia actually, because this is my first time to visit here, and I didn't know how big this country is by land. Probably one of the top 10, biggest countries in the world, right? Sort of. And then, like you said, the population's big, but also this country is very well respected in the region. So therefore, Arabic world, Muslim, the market, 2 billion market somehow, behind the Saudi Arabia, right? That's probably for global sponsor, something I actually almost forgotten how much importance this market has for the global sponsors, yeah? Okay, anyway, we are running out of time. So back to the last question. So given all these changes recently, so how can rights holders and the club can work together, work better together? Anyone?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think that the key thing is for both parties to enter a relationship with the right understanding of the legal framework in which they're going to work together. We see many, many examples, and there are lots of horror stories of partnerships failing, not just in Saudi Arabia, but across this part of the world. And it's invariably because both parties have entered into that relationship with a misaligned expectation as to what the other party is going to bring, and they haven't clearly codified what their expectations are. So seeking proper advice, understanding what your options are to underpin a partnership legally is so important. And transformation, we've spoken about transformation in the sports sector, but the adjacent area of the legal system in the kingdom has totally transformed in the last, particularly the last 5 years. The civil transactions law, data protection law, other new codifications of laws that really protect not just foreign investors, but also local investors and local businesses, so that when you form a partnership, you've got a legal stability to it. So our advice is always enter the Saudi market, of course, yes, form partnerships, but do it wisely and seek appropriate advice.
Okay, good.
If I may just add very shortly.
Go ahead, Ali.
I believe they need to stop selling inventory and just start treating it as identity. In Saudi, sports is a language of national spirits, and brands and rights holders need to help sponsors to understand how to speak that language properly. Not use data to just know who's watching, but help them actually move sentimentally with their rights. Just wanted to add that very
Okay. Noman,
Yeah,
brand
I think-
and the club, how can best work together going forward?
I think from a commercial perspective, each party, just like with any relationship that you have, must be very clear from the beginning, what are you looking for? So people go into sponsorship deals and they don't ask the question, what do you want from the deal? So very clear, 4, 5, 6 things. And you'd be surprised when you ask the question, how quickly they tell you. You have to, no one's going to tell you what you don't already know, right? So you have to ask them. Then the legals, I 100% agree, because those legals will then cover not only you as the asset holder or the sponsor, but along the chain, there's many people that need to get paid. So who's covering those commissions? When are they paid? What's your payment terms? So the clarity from the beginning is key, because the level of commercial investment that's required means that you have to have very robust frameworks, because once you're in that, it's very hard to get out. So if you've got a 3-year deal, a 5-year deal, huge naming rights, what's the areas of concerns around if you have a stadium but the team isn't performing, what do you do then? You can't change the deal, right? So the legal side of it, 100% agree. Commercially, you must be very robust. And just like in any business deal, just find out what everybody wants and then make sure you agree from the beginning.
Mugbil?
To be honest, both parties should look at the partnership in win-win situation with a clear objective for both sides, with effective strategy. For the company, they should really put their objectives and put the technology how to exploit this. To be honest, in the sponsorship, I'm talking about experience from the ground. I know how effective this on the partnership. For the clubs or the right holders, let's say, they should care about sponsor, satisfy them. Sponsorship, not signing a contract and taking money. You have to keep them, satisfied. You have to help them to your fan, to how to convey the fan to clients of them. If they have a strategy for that, help them. The implementation of the sponsorship very important for both sides. The contact should be all the time. Sometimes it's make the difference when they do kind of nice contract between them and work all the day for all the time for success this partnership.
Good. Okay. Actually, personally, I have a lot more questions because the first time here, I want to learn more, but we don't have much time. So one last question. Could you guys give one final sort of advice for the audience who's interested in doing the business here, the Saudi Arabia, in the region? Perhaps starting from Ali, please.
Absolutely. Narrative has changed. The audience is now young, passionate, and wants to be part of the story. Stop using data to overshadow the spirit of the sport. The algorithm here is human spirit. Use data to guide you, to make the compass, but do not let it dictate you. Earn your place at the heart of the community.
Mugbil?
For me, sports today is very effective platform for any company looking for media exposure, interaction, build a relationship with fan. Also for the sports organization, make your sponsors happy to strengthen your relationship.
Stuart?
I would say particularly aimed at foreign investors looking at entering the Saudi market into the sports sector or wherever. Our mantra is commit, don't commute. This is not a market that you can just fly into and walk away with a big deal. You need to focus on the journey, make sure you understand every step of it going ahead. If you're here for the first time, find out if your embassy has a trade team, if your country is lucky enough to have a business council, contact them, join them, get on a trade mission, but you've got to put the resources to it. This is a market that will reward you, but it rewards patience and perseverance.
Yeah.
Noman?
So my company works across borders in different countries, and what we found is focusing on cultural expertise, really understanding that community, because everybody understands football as a language, but when you're doing deals, can you communicate what you want to say if that person hasn't understood? So understanding the cultural differences in Saudi Arabia, in Italy, in France, what are they looking to achieve, and understanding how they do business. So if you go into a country and try to sell image rights or take your asset, but you don't understand the culture, you're going to run into a lot of problems. So cultural understanding for me is a really big area, and of course plus what people on the colleagues on the panel have said as well.
Great. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much. I mean, of course, as we said earlier, and then as these gentlemen talk about, of course, sponsorship has really changed it, from this very traditional logo exposure to the more partnership, delivers the measurable, the value. Now, beyond sponsorship, before finishing up, I wanted to say this to everybody here. Hosting World Cup something special. Japan was the first country outside the traditional World Cup country to host the World Cup. Now, back then, I used to live in San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, doing the IT business. Nothing to do with the football business, but going to Japan to watch the World Cup from the San Francisco changed my life. Really changed my life. And also a lot of people in Japan. Now here, biggest club in Japan here, Urawa Reds, a little bit famous in Saudi Arabia as well. All of us really influenced by the World Cup in our country. So I'm sure that already World Cup happened, took place in this region, Qatar last one, and then in 9 years here in Saudi Arabia, will change the life of a lot of people. I'm sure you and even us. So really looking forward to the fantastic growth of the business here, sports business, sponsorship, other business, and hope to see you in 9 years, yeah? Thank you very much.